Okay, what's going on? Well, I've watched you toss and turn for the past 5 minutes, and you still can't seem to find a comfortable position. I can tell when you're using humor to deflect by now. Is it about the festival tomorrow? And you're having trouble sleeping because you're nervous about the performance. I understand. Well, you're gonna want to get a good night's rest before the big day. Come here. I don't care about how hot you run. You need some sleep, and you always seem to drift off when we're cuddled up. So quit worrying about my comfort and get over here. There. Is that comfortable? Good. Let's try to slow down our breathing a bit, okay? Can you give me a big breath in? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. Now hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And rest for 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Well, you taught me the importance of breath work when I was struggling with elemental practicum. I'm just returning the favor. I don't know if I've said this enough, but I'm really proud of you. I mean, I've seen you work hard before, but I don't think I've ever seen you this intensely focused on something like this. Are you kidding? You put up with weeks of tedious meetings with the planning committee, choreographed an entire fire magic demonstration, ran auditions, hand-selected a team of performers, and ran weekly rehearsals on your own, all without ever having done anything like this before. That's impressive as hell. Oh, don't be so modest, Pyro. Sure, I helped you in the beginning, getting your plan organized, but you took the couple of tips I had for you and ran with it. You're not gonna mess this up. Because I know you, babe. When I was stressing out before a big test, my dad always used to tell me nervousness just means you care. It's okay to be nervous. This is something you've been working really hard on, and could mean a lot for your future. It's completely natural to be invested in the outcome. Just remember, you've done all the work already. Now it's time to trust yourself and your team. Of course. I've seen you all at the rehearsals. There are some techniques in that routine I didn't even know you could accomplish with fire magic. Like that bit where Shauna and Kai create that wall of blue fire that looked like the surface of the ocean. People are gonna lose it when they see it. I think Kai is almost as excited about this demo as you are. I hear he's hoping to land a gig at the Cirque after he finishes up his final year at Thornwood. And don't forget, there's a whole festival that we get to enjoy together once you're done with the performance. Rachel and Anna have demanded we all do the fire labyrinth together. So you've noticed too? I thought I was picking up something budding between them on the club trip. They always seem to hang around each other at meetings, but they haven't come out and said anything. Maybe one of them will be brave and make a move tomorrow. Is any of this chat helping? You almost seem more awake than you did before. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're not feeling as nervous anymore, but You should really get some sleep. You've got an early morning. My fault. I didn't realize catching you up on the mundanity of my social life would excite you so much. Well, if that's too stimulating, what else can we do to get you tired? Well, if you're making jokes like that, then you're definitely feeling better. But I did say less stimulating, Pyro. Besides, you need to conserve that energy for tomorrow. We can't have you tired out. Here, why don't we do something I know will knock you right out? Get up for a sec? Thanks. And this? It's my reading for Global Origins of Magic. Based on your track record of falling asleep during our study sessions, well, the ones where all we did was study anyway, I figured it might help bore you to sleep at least. What? No, it's not an excuse to get ahead on my readings. Okay, fine, maybe a little. But hey, why not kill two birds with one stone? Now, get comfortable. Yeah, you can cuddle up to me again. I can play with your hair with this hand and hold up the text in this one. You'll have to help me turn the pages, though. Ready? Okay, great. Throughout human history, the presence of Fae has left an indelible imprint on the cultural landscapes of humans around the world. Even in the realm of mundanity, where many remain unaware of the clandestine world of magic, the influence of Fae is evident through the enduring presence of fairy tales, folklore, and religious texts. These stories of beings that exist both within and beyond the boundaries of the human world have captured the mundane imagination for centuries, weaving together elements of magic and mystery. And though colored by the limited comprehension of mundane humans... wow, condescending much? Oh, sorry. Though colored by the limited comprehension of mundane humans, offer some promising answers as to the origins of magic in our plane. Here we will explore the stories of some of the earliest encounters between humanity and the enigmatic beings that make up the realm of Fae, expounding on their influence on the current perception of Fae in modern magical culture. In each chapter, we will present mundane stories that allude to human-Fae interactions in various cultures and contextualize them with the rare Fae accounts of magical history to gain insight to the truths and myths of our magical origins. Fates intertwined. The history of Fae-human interactions is a nuanced tapestry of discord, adaptations, and coexistence, many parts of which are lost to time. However, what remains of the tapestry illustrates an intertwined history between Fated and Fae, connected by threads of the magic they share. It is no small coincidence that the term fated is derived from the Latin word fatus, meaning oracle, prophecy, destiny. The same root is associated with the word fae, both derived from the famed trio of ancient fae, the Moire, also known to humankind as the Norn, Parse, or more popularly, the Fates, goddesses who held the very threads of life, luck, and death in their hands. To early magicians, to be fated meant to be touched from birth with destiny-altering abilities. Power once believed to only be held by beings not of this world. Where in history our fated ancestors obtained this power remains a subject of speculation. But a pattern does emerge when studied closer. Excluding some notable outliers, fated seem to only appear in history wherever fae are known to linger. Wherever stories of gods, angels, demons, and fairies flourished, so did a growing population of magicians who learned quickly the importance of hiding their magic from those who don't possess it. This pattern has led historians to speculate on the method by which the ability to manipulate limina was transferred to humans. Some theories suggest that the mere arrival of limina on the human plane was enough to change the humans living near thresholds at the time when the first fated ones were born, while more spiritually minded magicians believed it was gifted to humans by a benevolent yet powerful fae at some point in time. One theory often favored among fae historians suggests that fated were born from the union of fae and human, the former of which may have joined human communities in disguise for safety from distrusting humans who were wary of their new predators. This story alludes to one of the earliest recovered records of interaction between fae and humans, a story passed through oral tradition that describes a supernatural threat that plagued a village near what is now known as Prague. The story mentions a strange race of creatures who were believed to have fed on human flesh, blood, and even their souls, terrorizing their community. In most versions of this tale, these human-like beings are portrayed as amalgamations of the natural world, often featuring branches sprouting from their heads, or in some cases, sprouting horns, wings, or hoofed feet. These stories predate the advent of anima shifters or vampires. The theory pairs these tales with an account found in one of the most foundational texts available to ancient fae linguists, the Fraxinus Codex, and argues that magic arrived to humanity when fae made a shift in their mode of feeding. Fraxinus writes, "At a certain time 'twere rumored among us that the humans had discovered a weakness in our corporeal forms. Ere long, the simple ones had chased some of our fiercest hunters out of their dwellings and into hiding, and those whom had once mocked the energetic feeders among us as weak-willed had discovered it to be a more satisfying meal than the one at the other end of an iron prod." Though the author excludes any specific tactics, it's widely known that many fae employ a strategy of masquerading as humans to feed on Orathrum, human life energy, without arousing suspicion. Folklore regarding the fae is as vast as the number of variations of fae and fated that are known to us, as diverse as the cultures that wrote about them. While stories like the aforementioned present the fae as threats to humans, some attribute godhood to these beings. English folklorist Charles Squire wrote of one such fae who wooed his followers with food and heralded the turning of seasons, Dagda, whose name seems to have meant the good god. The old Irish tract called The Choice of Names tells us that he was a god of the earth. He had a cauldron called the Undri, in which everyone found food in proportion to his merits, and from which none went away unsatisfied. It would seem that many fae would choose to follow in the footsteps of those who had obtained godhood status, but it is not the nature of the fae to conform to human wills and expectations, and those who were thought to bring hardship to the mundane were feared. On one side are ranged the gods of day, light, life, fertility, wisdom, and good. On the other, the demons of night, darkness, death, barrenness, and evil. The first were the great spirits, symbolizing the beneficial aspects of nature and the arts and intelligence of man. The second were the hostile powers thought to be behind such baneful manifestations as storm and fog, drought, and disease. This and other human folk tales set a precedence for the modern taxonomy of fae as it stands. While some fae were regarded as celestials, walking among the living, others were seen as demons and devils, existing to meddle in human affairs and to tempt otherwise pious humans to their own destruction. It is believed by many who study the history of the fae that these distinctions weren't only made by humanity, however, but that these stories allude to a rift between the groupings of fae with opposing interests. Warring among the Fae seems to appear in human folklore across cultures throughout time. One of the most vivid mundane accounts of this clashing of powers is one of the primary instances of Fae discussed in angelic and demonic terms. In the New Testament, the Apostle John has written one of the most famous accounts of this heavenly war. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Though no Fae record explicitly mentions a war among them, a cryptic warning addressed to one Salix of Agad seems to allude to a time of tension among the Fae. In sacred trust, I invoke the oaths made to us keepers of man, murmurings among the courts about our brother and sister shadows. They encroach like whispers on the breeze. Safeguard your charges beneath the willows by the Euphrates, where Fae and fate coalesce. Heed the reed's subtle tremor, and let destiny's shroud be your guide. Within the context of this message, these oaths made to us keepers of man are interpreted as solemn commitments shared between this order of Fae and humankind, with the Fae acting as guardians or protectors. These brother and sister shadows seem to be referring to encroaching Fae entities who the author of this letter believed posed a threat to the mundane and fated living in the city at this time. Within the context of this message, these oaths made to us keepers of man are interpreted as solemn commitments shared between the order of Fae and humankind, with Fae acting as guardians or protectors. These brother and sister shadows seem to be referring to encroaching entities who the author of this letter believed posed a threat to the mundane and fated living in the city at this time. Looks like that worked. Good night, Pyro.